Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to take a couple minutes to talk about the two types of stress loads that are on a dog. Now, the first type of stress is as a result of a dog actually holding power in the relationship, as a result of the owner being in wrong relationship, a failure to come into the lead role as defined with how a dog's decision-making process is governed at the social relational level. So what this does is it causes the dog to be stressed. And again, I talk about this to people to help them understand. It's the same, the consequences of stress are the same as in the human world. Stress really does play a major role on how people think, on the body. And so here with dogs, this is why you'll see this issue of fear reaction, of how the stress of holding power, how a dog's mind reacts to that. So there's a pulling in of the mind, a pulling back, and the dog is attempting to reconcile the role that they're in with what's happening around them, other people, their environment. And so it just causes more and more stress on the dog. And it's very unhealthy for a dog to be holding the lead position in the relationship, because with the human, by the human taking the lead role, it doesn't cause the stress like that. It actually lifts the burden off the dog. So basically, you're doing your dog a big favor by taking the role from your dog that way at the relational level. Now again, the stress load stays on the dog so long as that dog is still holding on to that position. It can go on for many, many years, and it can cause, even cause health problems with dogs. Just the same way stress causes health problems with the human. And so here, but going into the issue of secondary stress, it's as the process takes hold, the relational changing process takes hold. You'll see the reactions of the dog to this process, and again, the dog will be resistant to it. However, I just hope you understand it actually makes sense to the dog, because again, it falls within the framework of what's reasonable. So even though the dog is reacting certain ways to the process, and you may even see reactions that appear very unreasonable, it still makes sense. The dog knows that you have their best interest at heart, even though the dog is going to resist, because the thing to understand is that it took a long time to get there. Typically, it takes a while for a dog to gain that position, so the dog is asking the question, is this the real deal? The dog is going to challenge you. And they're basically looking at to make sure that you are actually coming into right relationship. Dogs are very much, that's how nature works. It's an amazing connection. But the stress from the process is, there's also stress from that. However, it's a different type of stress. It's a transitional stress. So it goes away. It's a type of stress that just the process itself, it's part of the process. But the good news is, as relational change takes hold, transitional stress is gone, but then the stress load that was there from the dog having the role in the first place, that goes away too, that lifts off the dog. And so this is why I tell people, by role changing your dog, you're doing your dog a big favor, and you're doing yourself a big favor too. But it's very, very unhealthy for a dog to be holding on to the lead role. It causes all sorts of issues related to having this stress load on the dog, and it's just very, very detrimental to the dog. So anyway, just understand about stress. Two types of stress. One's transitional, one is the load itself, the stress load that's on that dog. But again, by role changing your dog, you're lifting the stress off the dog, and you're bringing the dog into right relationship. It makes sense to the dog. It's naturalistic to the dog, but it makes them happy. I mean, it doesn't take away their spirit or drive. They become very confident, because it's about right relationship, and so it's about what's reasonable. And even though it makes complete sense to the dog, you're going to get some resistance through the process. But again, by doing it smart, by following the relational scripting process and using structure to help in that, it can make the transition as smooth and fluid and easy as possible, and reduce even the transitional stress load on the dog. So you have any questions about the process or about stress on the dog, contact me anytime. Be more than happy to answer your questions.